Hey everyone, thought we might go for a bit of a fishing trip today. It's actually my birthday, so I thought I'd give myself a day off. So I'm going to fly up this little boat. I'll take it out with me when I'm waiting. It carries all my gear. It's like $20 from Kmart, so it's a pretty efficient, cheap way of carrying some stuff around. So anyway, that one's a bit flat. There's 3 chambers in this. There's an outside one, a little floor, and then this one here. So that was a bit flat, so we'll... Done. Just like that. So anyway, let's go. Well, the tide is up a lot higher than I thought it was going to be, so that might make things a bit interesting. Okay, so here we are. We're at our favourite Gardy spot, and it's actually high tide. It's still coming in a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't get too much higher. All my waders will be a bit short one end. So what we've done, we've got a little boat sitting there. We've got our esky with a bit of ice in it. We've got our Burley, and we've also got our bait. I've got my less favourite fishing rod, because if this one gets dunked or whatever, I'm not going to cry about it as much. And so what we do now is put out a bit of a Burley trail, and hopefully the Gardies will follow that up, and we'll get into it and see how we go. Alright. Okay, so there we have it. It's a nice little gar. Sorry about the camera skills here. I had a pole set up, which is basically an old seat off a boat, and a pole I was going to set up, but the current keeps knocking it over. So I've strapped this to the rod, and we'll see how we go. So what we do, we get a bit of Burley. Just got a bit of pollen and bran and a bit of tuna oil here. Flick a bit out. That floats on the surface, and then it slowly sinks down. And I also like to get a bit of tuna oil as well and put out, and that sort of makes a bit of a slick as well, and the Gardies love that. They feed on the surface. Right, so we're just using a bit of cockle today on a little whiting hook. Got a couple of split shots onto a float. So just flick that out there a little bit. And they're after a bit of a moving target today by the look of it, and they're in really close to me. I was throwing it out way far, but they're just up near the boat. So I'll just slowly bring this in. Right, there's a Gardie sucking on that right now, just in front of us. Really hard to see. They're really timid today. See if I can wind that in a bit further. So this Gardie's just here under the boat, but they're just sucking on the bait. They're not really attacking it too much yet, but hopefully they'll fire up in a sec. So getting a little tap on it now. I don't know if you can see the float there or not. Just give it a slow wind. A bit finicky today. So just using a little bit of cockle that we've caught locally. Oh, let's grab it there. Alright, and we're on. Slippery little suckers. Gardies, but they don't seem to have turned up just yet, but we'll see what happens. We've only been here about 10 minutes, so. Okay, so got a bit of cockle on there, and a float. So just keep an eye on her float. Tide's still coming in. I'm freezing, and hopefully there's a bit of a drop off just before I get back to the beach, which is quite deep. So hopefully I've got enough water. I've got the little boat I can jump in if worst comes to worst. It's coming up for another half an hour, and then we'll be right. Oh, missed him. There's one just here playing around the back of the boat. Not exactly smashing it today, but at least there's something there anyway. Here we go. Oh, I missed. That was my fault. Should have let him have a go. I'll quickly throw that back. Quite a few there. They're just not really hammering it yet. Here we go. One's grabbed it then. Oh. Oh, that was cold. Little touch out the back. Alrighty. So I don't know if you can see that, but he's on. It's not in the boat yet though. Another little gar. So you just keep the line tight to the float all the time, so you can feel if you've got a bite. And as soon as the float moves or dips down, you know there's something on. So something's grabbing it now. You can see the float turned at 90 degrees. They're really finicky today. They're not really smashing it, but they're there. So if you watch the float, and when it does a weird turn, like to the left or right, you know something's grabbing it. May have took my bait too. Well, it's still there, I think. Grab it. Oh, scun me. No bait. So again, all we're doing is putting a bit of cockle on, just thread it through the hook and make sure there's plenty of hook showing. This hook's a bit worn out actually, I've got to put a new one on soon. But so the Gardies love that, and they just suck that in and then we're on. Okay, so you can see the float straight out the back there. Just stay in contact with it all the time, just keep a nice little bit of tension on the line, especially when they're like this. Sometimes they'll just hit it by themselves and you're on, but they're not really going off today, but that's all right. Got probably got half a dozen or so far. Don't want many more than that anyway, because then you've got to clean them all. I can see one just hovering behind the, just sucking on the bait. I'll give it a bit of a jerk in a sec and we'll see if we can snag him. There we go. Got him. He was, oh, I missed it. He was only holding the bait. He wasn't doing anything with it. Oh, dropped him. Just had another one on and lost it. They're literally just sucking on the bait. They're just holding it and not moving. But I can see them occasionally. They look like little snakes or whatever. But yeah, sometimes you can just give it a little bit of a jerk and you'll jag one. Okay, there's one grabbing it now. I'll give it a little jerk. There we go, and we're on. Just like that. Oh, he's off. Alright, so we've got this one. Not a bad gar. So there we go. They're very finicky today. So he was only holding it. I'll just get him off and show you. Okay, so there you have it. Not a bad sized gar. Oh, now we lost it. In the boat. Come here, mate. Alright, so anyway, you get the gist of it. Pop him in the esky. And it's pretty much just repeat. So I'll give this a rest for a minute and I'll show you a bit more later. Okay, so you get your favourite cockle. Just thread the bait on quite a few times like that. Let it hang down a little bit, make sure you've got plenty of hook showing. What's really awesome is I've just tipped the tuna roll out in the bottom of the container. That's nice. Okay, so it's time to head in. Tide's coming up really high now and I'm on a reef and it's getting quite high and there's a big drop off just before this reef and the beach where my ute is, so hopefully we don't have to swim. But anyway, so I've got polarized sunnies on so I can actually see where I'm going, and I've been on this reef plenty of times so I've got a bit of an idea where I'm going. Famous last words as I fall in a big hole. But yeah, without sunnies it's really hard to see when you got the sun on top of the water and it's a bit glary, so at least this way you can see where the holes are. This reef's actually quite safe, it's just got a really big tide today. Just got to watch out for stingrays, so you sort of shuffle your feet a bit. So the problem with this particular reef is it's when you get close to the beach, there's a section about, I don't know, it's only 3 meters across. It's a bit of sand, literally a stone's throw from the ute, but it's quite deep. Or deeper, I should say. It's only like, I don't know, half a metre deeper, not even that. But when your waders are close to the top, that's all you need. Oh man, that's on the borderline of the height of the waders, I can tell you. I am on tippy toes. Oh, oh, it's a nasty bit of weight there. Well, so far so good. I think it's slowly coming up again. Oh, that was like millimeters off the top of the waders, I can tell you. Okay, so we made it back in. That was a very, very short trip due to the fact the tide's coming in heaps quicker than I thought it was gonna. And yeah, normally it's not very deep out here, but today, yeah, there's a bit of a tide pushing up, so had to go so I could get back out. But anyway, that's the little boat. Quite handy for storing gear. Yeah, wouldn't want to be any smaller. I think next time we'll bring the tinny out and we'll see if we can get out a bit deeper. Might even get some squid in that. So I think we ended up with half a dozen in about half an hour, but they would have liked to stay a bit longer. But anyway, I don't like swimming. But I'll head home and get these cleaned up. What's up, Nipper Dog? What are you doing? Hey? Told you it was a quick trip. You would have been swimming out there today, mate. It's really high tide. Yeah. Okay, so here we have our gar that we got. We got half a dozen we ended up with. We had to get out of there pretty quick. The tide was coming up too fast, and the last bit near the beach was gets pretty deep, so I wanted to get out of there. Anyway, these are garfish. Nothing overly huge today, but they're still not bad size. They're a funny sort of fish. Got a bit of a beak on the front of there. There's its mouth there. In South Australia, they need to be 23 centimetres long. And you measure them from the tip of the beak to the tail, and these are well and truly over that. No back slappers today, which we call winter gars. So they're the ones where you're taking the bait out or the hook off like that. They start slapping you in the back. They can get up to, you know, a decent size, but these are still good feed. Anyway, what we're going to do is just quickly knock the scales off these. Right, so you can pretty much knock the scales off these with pretty much anything. They come off really easily. Obviously just go against the scales and they just fall straight off. If you want to get fancy, you can get these scalers. Yeah, they'll do the job. They got for a knife. So this isn't a how to scale and fillet fish, etc. This is just how I do it. Been doing it for ages. I might show you a couple of different ways to fillet fish, gars, depending on the size. But that's pretty much it. The scales come off really easy on these. What else we got here? There you go, end up with 3, 6, 7. Oh, I actually got 8. I can't count. So anyway, a lot of the other fish we get, like whiting, bream, all that sort of stuff, we don't actually scale because we actually fillet them and then skin them, so you don't actually have to scale them. So that makes things go a bit quicker as well. Look at that. So I just looked it up again. Yeah, minimum size is 23 for Gardies in South Australia, and you're allowed 30 now, which is quite a bit really. Anyway, so I thought I'd give them a quick measure because there's always some numpty out there who's an expert on size limits. So measure them from the tip of the beak, basically like that, to the tip of the tail. So that one's, you know, roughly 35, you could say. So 23 back here is the limit, and as you can see, these are all definitely over. So the smallest one would be that one there, and he's 29. So not a bad little fish. Anything smaller than that, they're probably not worth mucking around to eat. Make awesome snapper bait though. But anyway, we're going to fillet these, and I'll show you a quick process of that, and we'll also do a cook up on another video. Alright, so you get your favourite gar, and there's a few different ways of filleting these. You can do butterfly fillets, you can just take the sides off. I'll show you a couple of quick ways I do it. With the garfish, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there's three sort of black lines down the centre of its back. Centre one's obviously spine, in the middle comes down to the fin there, so the backbone's just behind that. I use the outside lines as a bit of a guide when filleting them. Garfish have got a triangular shaped backbone, so they're a little bit funny to fillet compared to normal fish, but anyway, this is one way I do it. So I just need a nice sharp knife, and we're doing this side of the fish obviously, so we'll go to this side of that little black line and go all the way down. Nice little, just nice cut. You can feel the backbone as you go. I'll do it nice and slow so you can see what's going on. So you'll see the backbone here, so you follow that along with the tip of the knife, go all the way down to the tail. Now there's actually pin bones, there's rib bones and pin bones in fish. So you've got the main backbone there. On the belly here, you've got all these rib bones which run that way, going across, and they finish about here, where its stomach is. And then you've also got pin bones, which are little tiny fine bones that go that way, and they go from this lateral line all the way down to the backbone. So what we do, these pin bones sort of run out about here, where that back fin is. So what we'll do is you just stab it through like that, pop it out the side, and then we just move the knife down so we're just above this fin here and miss it, and then follow the backbone all the way down, pop that out like that. I'll just give that a quick rinse off. Don't want to go blasting the fish too much either with fresh water, because they can make them a bit sort of soft and that. These are fresh obviously, so they probably could firm up a bit. So anyway, the next step we'll do is you can actually cut that down to there as well, just behind the gill there. So what we've done now, we followed the backbone down, and there'll be these little tiny pin bones, and they're actually going that way. So what we need to do is cut through those. They're really small, so you just got to just gently nick through them, just with the tip of the knife, and you can hear them popping, cracking through. So that's just the pin bones we've cut through now. Tidy that up a bit for those who are a bit squeamish. So now we've cut the pin bones. You can see those little black dots, they're all little bones running that way through the fillet, and a lot of people leave them in, they cook them up and they reckon they can't taste them, or know that they're there. With smaller Gardies that's true. When you start getting into slightly bigger Gars, they are there. Admittedly they're not too bad, but if you've got kids or people have never had fish before, you want to give people a good experience. So I can actually trim them out quickly as well, because bones are bones sort of thing. So anyway, so this particular way you can do it, you actually just then follow the rib cage down. There's rib bones here that we're now pushing against, which is just above the stomach. So what you do is just slowly follow those ribs down, and just keep sort of gently running the back of the knife onto the ribs. And so we're just sort of skimming over the stomach, and the rib bones are above the stomach, so you don't have to gut these either. So you can actually gut Gardies. I'll do one in a minute to show you. There's multiple different ways of doing this. I just find this is just as well. I do them multiple ways actually, depending on the size. So if you want to do a butterfly fillet, what you actually do is you just do one side like that, do the other side, and then it opens up. Actually, I'll do that. I may as well. Right. So that's kind of it. Rib bones there this way. So we've just gone around the ribs, and the pin bones are still in. I'll get them out later. Flip it over. Do exactly the same on the other side. There's that little black line, this here we were talking about. So again, this isn't a how to fillet Gardie video. This is just the way I do it. So if anyone's getting excited about, oh, that's not how you do it, to be honest, I'm not that interested. Just there's a million different ways of doing it. Whatever works for you, go for it. So same again, just follow the backbone down like that. Then you'll come across these pin bones again. We start about there. So just with the little tip of the knife, nick through the little pin bones. All the way up to the head. Keep your fingers out of the way, obviously. So what we do then is you go cut around behind the gill, down like that. So we've cut all the pin bones again, as you can see. Oh, I must have missed one there. Hang on, there's a couple. So there we go. Oops, a bit too deep. So now we're into the rib cage here. I've gone too far. Using a drama, we can cut that out like that. So we want to leave the ribs on there. Juggling a few things here. Right, so, and then again, what we want to do is follow the ribs now. So we push down, flat bit of the knife on the rib cage. So we're keeping all the stomach and everything inside behind the ribs. So these are a little bit fresh too. I like to put them in a fridge or on some really cold ice water, and they firm up a bit as well, but this will give you an idea. So same again, we're just still following the rib cage down. So at the end of the day, that will join up with the other fillet that you just did. Oh, that's a bit rough. So this is to get a butterfly. Well, that's not perfect, but anyway. So there's kind of, there's your butterfly fillet, which I think that's a bit of mucking around, to be honest. This is great snapper bait. So again, you don't want to blast your fish too much. So if you wanted to, there's a basically a butterfly fillet ready to go. Some people just leave it like that. I like to get these pin bones out. So what I do there is I just quickly run the knife down each side of these little black pin bones. So you lose a tiny little bit of meat, that's nothing to worry about. So cut down both sides of these pins, get the end like that, pull them out, cut that off like that. So in here, there's some super fine little bones, and they are, when the bigger the fish, the bigger these get. So they're actually, they do dissolve a bit when you cook them, but they're still in there and the texture is not real brilliant. So if you wanted to, that is 100% boneless now, that piece there. So you can do the same the other side. So cut down the edge of the pin bones. Like so. Grab the end of it and just pull it out like that. And they stop down this part anyway, so then you can just trim that off. And so now you've got a fillet that is got no bones in it. Little fins down the bottom here, I'll just get them with my finger. Just pull them out. Get rid of that one and that one. They're little bottom fins. So that is a butterfly fillet. That's one way of doing it. Bit rusty on that one. Okay, another way to do gars is you actually got to gut them. I'm not a fan of this, it takes forever. It's not that long, I guess, but so if you're a bit squeamish, you might not want to watch this bit. But anyway, so rip the guts out. You can actually take the head off when you're doing this as well. There's a few different ways you can do this. So cut that down like that. Same on the other side. Just follow behind the head there. That pops straight off. So I'll just give these a very rough gut. Bit of this black stuff in there. So we'll trim all that out later anyway. Give it a bit of a quick blast out. It's really the only reason to do that is so you can get inside and see the rib cage and to fillet them a different way. So this particular way of filleting is basically like a butterfly but a different way around. So just clean my hands up here. Okay, this particular bit's like a butterfly but back front. So again, follow that little black line down. Just go all the way down, follow the backbone down to its tail. Go across the backbone, stick the knife out the bottom there. Follow the backbone down, out the tail. Same with this side. Follow the backbone down. Poke it out that side. Out like that. So now what you end up with is basically two little bits coming out like that. Quickly. Then, well, the reason we gutted it is then you actually follow the ribs down in the inside part. So it's a bit of mucking around this. So what you're doing is you're cutting each side of the rib bones, and you're actually going on an angle in like a triangle. So you're making the knife go into the center and then into the center that way. So I don't know if we can see this on camera, but I'm sort of angling it in to the center of the fish as I go. So we'll just come all the way down again to the tail. So what I'm doing is just following that rib bone along like that, and we just keep working on it. They're actually like a triangle shaped backbone, these sort of fish. So just keep going down until you get to the skin part right at the back of the fish. So you're basically going right there to the top of the fish there, and do the same the other side. So we've already cut it there. So I'll just work the knife down, get your fingers out of the road. Like a triangle, I'm angling the knife back to this centre piece. Find these a little bit fiddly doing it this way. Again, whatever works for you, there's different sizes, different ways you can do it. So anyway, cut that down to the centre. And what you can do then is you can pull the centre out. Hopefully it's going to work for me. Yep. Boy. So you can just pull the backbone out like that now, off the fillet you just did. A little bit rough. Wow, haven't done those for a little while. And what you end up with there is a butterfly like that, and these little fins on the side. Just grab your fingernail, or get a knife actually, it's probably better with these. Little tiny cut there and there. Same again, little cut there, little cut there. Make it a bit neater, and then just grab them, pull them out. So they're the little side fins. Okay, so now we're taking out the rib cage. So a nice sharp knife, just follow that down, curve it up and take the ribs out. We're just getting underneath the ribs, which are at the top there. Let's sharpen this knife, I think. So anyway, it's a bit rough, but you get the idea. These are little pin bones here, and they join onto the rib, so we can just gently cut through there if you wanted to make it easier. Right, so that's pretty much the ribs out. There's a couple little ones there. Again, we take the pin bones out if you want to. So just grab the pins, pull them out like that. So there you go, so that's a boneless fillet butterfly. That's rough as guts, look at that. Wow. Anyway, all tastes the same. So normally what I like to do is just grab them like that, cut around the back of the head, especially these smaller ones. Follow the backbone along, pushing flat against the rib cage. When you get to the end, straight out like that. And you've got a few to do. This is definitely the quicker way. You might lose a little bit on the right at the bottom of the stomach, which is that thin, it's not worth worrying about anyway. So just follow that along. And at the end of the day, that is beautiful snapper bait. Anyway, so that's a super quick way of doing it. Normally you get the ribs out. I obviously missed a couple there, so that's done. Quickly take the pin bones out. These smaller ones you probably don't have to worry about, but I just do them anyway. Like so. And that's done, and then just grab that little bottom fin again, take that out, that's done. So that's a 100% boneless fillet, and the fact they're just not joined together like that, who cares? But again, that's just my personal opinion. So if you're a hater and you're going to put something in the comments, I really don't care. So again, knock the pin bones out like so. If I've got a really massive winter gar or something, I might spend the time and butterfly them, and you know, they look a little bit more impressive, but at the end of the day, not too worried about it. So there you go, so that's a boneless fillet again. Another one. So again, so really only interested in this part here. So behind the head, onto the backbone, push down onto the ribs, cutting the pin bones as you go. Angle down, follow that backbone right out. So you can see that one I cut a little bit too deep. Cut a little, didn't take enough off the ribs, but you can just simply take them out now. Like that. Oh, I'm going to sharpen this. And that bit there. So again, take the pins out. Knock the little fin off the side. Done. So that's again boneless fillet. Oh, another one hiding away. I'll just quickly sharpen this knife. Sharp knife makes a huge difference for these little fiddly fish. Okay, so again behind the head. Follow down the side, out the tail like that. If you miss a couple of ribs, that's okay. You can get them here. Like that. Take the pin bones out, or leave them in, whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you, whatever makes you happy. So there we go. Knock that little side fin off again. There you go, boneless fillet. There we go. So you can see it gets right down into the centre. That's all gone. We're just missing the ribs. Obviously cut it a little bit deep there. Took a couple of ribs with me. So if you get it right, it's not too bad. But I am a bit rusty. I haven't been fishing for a while. Maybe I should blame the knife. Poor workman blames his tools. Well, there you go, that wasn't too bad. A little bit not deep enough, too deep I should say, on the ribs there. So just quickly nick them off. And bin bones out. Like I said, if you firm these up in the fridge, they actually are a lot easier to fillet. A bit fresh. Still twitching an hour ago. Okay, that, take a little side fin off, and again, boneless fillet. Okay guys, so that's pretty much wrapped that video up. Yeah, I'm a bit rusty filleting gars. I haven't been fishing for them for a while, so that's my excuse anyway. Yeah, not a bad little session for now. Like I said, I would have liked to have been out there a bit later, but yeah, tide wasn't meant to be. Yeah, look, if you like these videos, just hit the like button, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe. And what we'll do is probably do a cook-up video on this at some point, so keep an eye out for that in the future. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.